Hello, my name is Lynette Clement, and I am the creative director of the Love Exquisite magazine, which is available on loveexquisite.com, LOVEXQUISITE.com. There you will see our beauty product line, Love Exquisite Cosmetics, where you can purchase affordable, paraben-free, hypoallergenic beauty products as well. So subscribe to the Love Exquisite magazine, which is a monthly free publication that's online. Again, it's available through loveexquisite.com. So what I am doing is I'm taking some of the articles from the magazine and I'm reading them as an audio component to add to the Love Exquisite magazine, because if you are not yet a subscriber to the magazine, you're missing out on a lot of good content that's helpful for everyone. So we cover sports, we cover relationships, we cover money matters, there's financial information, there's fashion, beauty, there's makeup tips. There's a lot of great information on loveexquisite.com, which is where you will access the Love Exquisite magazine. So I am now going to read from the November 2019 issue. In the For the Love of Relationships section, it is an article titled, Are You Doing Your Best? So I'm going to read from the Love Exquisite magazine, For the Love of Relationships, the November 2019 issue, called Are You Doing Your Best? Are you doing your best? You have to ask yourself that. Am I doing my best? When men and women are ready to settle down, they usually want the same things from their relationships. 1, to be loved the right way. 2, to be respected. 3, to be supported in endeavors. And 4, to be able to still communicate with one another when things are good or bad. What we want from relationships is not really as deep as some make it. When we first meet someone, we tend to do what we think we need to do to get him or her to like us. If we are not our true, authentic selves from the beginning, and we put on a facade or front and pretend that we are better than we actually are, we can set up false hopes and expectations that will later be a letdown, and it can hurt our mate. Because of this, he or she could have believed, because of this front, I should say, he or she believed that we were actually genuine, sincere, when we actually weren't, because we were not being our true selves. It is best to be real from day one. Be who you really are, and do not pretend to be what you are not, or who you are not. This way, you give the other person the opportunity to decide if he or she wants to be with you or not. In the beginning, relationships are light, they're fun, and we begin to develop friendships to see if it will lead to something long-term. If it leads to something long-term, we want to put a title on the relationship, shifting it from dating to friends to boyfriend and girlfriend to even fiance, and maybe even wife or husband. After a while, for some reason, in some relationships, as soon as the title of friend changes to girlfriend or boyfriend or husband to wife, things tend to get heavy. The expectations changes, and the friends who used to have fun together start treating each other like enemies later in the relationship. We forget that when we are in a relationship, we are teammates, playing on the same team against the opposition, not against each other. We begin to argue about things that don't really matter, forgetting that the friendship still exists inside of the relationship. In a relationship, to me, arguing is stupid. Arguing to me is stupid in a relationship. If there's only one reason to argue and fight, it is to argue, to fight, to keep the relationship together, not to fight to tear it apart. Eventually, that is what will happen if you keep arguing over things that do not really matter for the relationship to work. Instead of being problem focused in your relationship, be solution focused in your relationship. What happens in relationships when the titles change, that makes people change in the relationship. So what is it? What makes us change once the titles change? What makes that happen? People tend to get uncomfortable and stop working hard. People tend to get comfortable in relationships and they stop working hard for the relationship to work after they add the titles. Is it that we shift our mindset from having a friend to having a possession? When we own something, we tend to think we can control it because it belongs to us. However, we should remember that we were friends first and should continue to treat each other like real friends should treat each other. So the same things that you had to do to get the person to date you are the same things that you have to do to keep the person interested in you. When you change a person's title, that person unfortunately tends to change as well. Think about it. If someone at work is put into a leadership position, they tend to become bossy because their behavior changes and their role changed. They tend to become boss-like or bossy and start treating people differently. For some, the boss title will impact their ego and they will become arrogant, aggressive, hierarchical, or even belittling. But for others, the working relationship may shift some to keep it professional, but they will still treat you like the human being that they are and how they would want to be treated. Just because the title changes does not mean that you have to stop being friends. It is important to remain friends, especially in a relationship, because friendships tend to last longer than relationships. We are more forgiving of our friends and we tend to treat our friends better. So when we keep our friendship in the midst of our relationship, we will be just as gracious towards one another, even in good and bad days. Relationships are teams, and we have to be willing to work on the same team as if we want the relationship to work, not like we want to tear the relationship apart. Men and women both want the same thing. The challenge is that in a relationship, you are waiting for your mate to communicate. You are waiting for your mate to communicate and give you love, support, respect, while guess what? Your mate is waiting on you to do the same thing, to give them love, support, and communication and respect as well. And because both of you are in waiting, nobody's needs are getting met because y'all both waiting on each other. So instead of waiting, just do it, both of you. Therefore, both of you are questioning whether or not one really loves one another if you don't get the love and support that you're waiting to receive. So don't assume that he or she is a mind reader. Can't reiterate that enough. Communication is key. Anyone who has been in a relationship can attest to the fact that at some point in your relationship, you have heard your mate say, I want you to come on to me sometime. I don't always want to be the initiator of sex. I want to feel like you are attracted to me just like I'm attracted to you. I don't want to cook all the time. Can't you cook sometimes? I don't want to have to be the one cooking all the time. Or I need you to pay more attention to me. I feel like you don't spend enough time with me. Why is it that you don't support me in anything that I do unless it benefits you? And so on, and the list goes on and on. I need you to call me more. I need more help with the kids. I can't do this by myself. If I have to do this by myself, I might as well be by myself. Or why I always got to say I love you first. It's a million things, that we do in relationships that's so petty. And it's like, give me what you want to receive, and I'll give you what I want to receive. And therefore, we're both doing our jobs. That's it. Just that simple. So I need some help, or look how you talking to me. Why are you talking to me? You don't respect our relationship. And I'm sure this all sounds like something that you either said or somebody else said it to you in the relationship. So whether you're male or female, I'm pretty sure that you've heard some of those sayings at some point in your relationship. And guess what? After the titles are placed on each other. So you see, men and women are more alike than different. We want the same things from each other. We are just waiting on one another to make the first move and giving us those things, the communication, the love, the respect, the support. Nevertheless, both men and women, we have to work together. Together. Say it with me, together. If you want the relationship to work long term. So don't fight each other. Work together. You are teammates. You're on the same team working towards the same end goal. You should be. If you're not, then you have to question, why are you together? So relationships are teams. And the two of you, again, are teammates. You don't compete with people on your same team. You encourage and you support them to win. Winning together is one of the best feelings in the world. So don't point your finger at your mate or what he or she is or is not doing when you are supposed to be on the same team. We should approach relationships like we approach jobs, meaning each person has their own roles and responsibilities. And as long as you are doing your job well, your work is completed successfully. If you can give 100% to your job, you should be able to give 100% to your relationship. Both of you should be giving 100% to your relationship. So ask yourself, are you giving 100% to your relationship? If not, give 100% to your relationship, especially if you want it to work. Men and women have to do their own individual jobs. In the relationship, you have to do your own individual job in the relationship if you want the relationship to work. In a relationship, the man's job is to contribute to the woman's happiness, and the woman's job is to contribute to the man's happiness. Notice that I didn't say is to make that person happy. I said contribute to their happiness, because if you work towards making someone happy, your work will be endless and unattainable, because you cannot make someone who is unhappy happy. They have to make themselves happy in effort to be able to receive what you have to offer them, in effort to continue to contribute to their happiness. So keep that in mind as you move forward in life and in love. To do so, you have to first find, and this is to contribute to your mate's happiness. To be able to contribute to your mate's happiness, you have to first find out what makes each other happy. So communicate what makes you happy, what vice versa. You ask your mate, what makes you happy? What makes you unhappy? And so on and so forth. So when the both of you are doing your jobs effectively, both of you are happier. Whether either of you are, if either of you stop doing your job, I should say, trust and believe that the other person will be unhappy and dissatisfied in a relationship. And this unhappiness and dissatisfaction can create a void that makes it easier for someone else to step in and fill in that gap, which will either end the relationship or cause more problems within the relationship itself. If you want the relationship to work, you have to be willing to put in the work. Relationships are like full-time jobs. So relationships are not always easy. And yes, they are like full-time jobs. So stop waiting on one another to do the work in the relationship. You do your job, I do my job. We both on our jobs, no reason why we shouldn't be happy. You have to let your mate do his or her job so that the both of you can be happier in the relationship. Most people with a lot to offer, substance, will want you at your best and will not accept anything less than your best. unless there are extenuating circumstances that occur that prevent you from doing your best at that time. That's if things happen, life happens. So there's sometimes that you won't always be at your best, but try and strive to be at your best as much as possible, as much as you can. If you are not in a relationship, ask yourself, if you are in a relationship, I should say, if you are in a relationship, ask yourself, are you doing your best? And be honest in your answer. Are you doing your best? You, not your mate. Are you doing your best? If not, what are you waiting for? For someone else to step in and fill in the gap? I sure hope not. It isn't always easy, this relationship thing. But if you want it to work, again, you have to put in the work. It is already hard enough to blend two different worlds into one. So you don't want to have other forces, unseen and seen, that try to pull the relationship apart because you're not doing your job as a part of the team in the relationship. So don't be the contributing factor as to why the relationship ends, especially if he or she means something to you. Do the work, both of you. Give your best to your relationship. However, before you do, just make sure that he or she is deserving of it. That is important. It has to be worth it, and they have to be deserving of it. Otherwise, you'll have to make the decision to move on to someone else who is deserving of it. So ask yourself, are you doing your best? This is in the For the Love of Relationships edition, the November 2019 issue of the Love Exquisite magazine, available today on loveexquisite.com. Thank you. Subscribe, spread the word, because we're preaching and teaching and inspiring.